Hi, welcome back to English 114 Online this week. There are two things that I want you to concentrate on. One thing is the proposal. I hope you've had a chance to read the proposal assignment. I put it on the middle page for last time. And also, I want to make sure that you understand what you're supposed to be doing with that. So I'm going to just briefly go over it again. Because we have our first assignment related to the proposal due this week, and that is to post your ideas in a proposal forum. The proposal ideas forum is a link on the page. And so what you're going to do is think about the ideas for your proposal. Now remember, you're going to address something that is a problem. You're going to have to be able to illustrate in your report that it is a problem, and you're going to have to be able to explain how you have a really good solution for the problem. You're going to have to cover how much it would cost, and there are some other things for the proposal that you'll have to have included in your report. But for right now, let's just concentrate on what the problem is and how you're going to think about solving it. So that's what I want you to post in the forum. The instructions from the forum say, think about what your ideas for your proposal report are and post them here on the forum. If you think of suggestions that might help a fellow student, feel free to post those ideas also on your classmates' post. But you're not required to go back and comment on your fellow classmates' posts this time. You're just you don't even have to go back and read them if you don't want to. But if you want to get some ideas, maybe and you have no idea what to do, maybe reading some of your classmates' posts might be helpful to you. So the proposal should address some problem in the workplace. The problem can be an actual problem you know of in your workplace, or you can pretend you work for some other company which has a problem that you're aware of. Say you're aware of a problem at an insurance company that you have been to, or you're aware of a problem in a medical office that you go see a doctor at, or something like that. And then you can pretend that you are an office employee there, and then you can write your report addressing the problem from that perspective. And if you can't think of anything at your own job, or you're not working right now and you can't remember from a previous job, or you can't think of anything from a place that you frequent and you see that there's a problem. It could even be a retail store. Then you can, if you're good at inventing things, you can completely fictionalize the problem. You can just make one up. And that'll be perfectly acceptable too. You'll still have to do some research and prove that it is a problem for someone more than just for you, and that you'll have to come up with a solution for it. You'll have to investigate the costs, if any, that are involved in fixing it and that sort of thing. But the problem should be something that you can fix. And don't make this harder on yourself than it needs to be. Make it something simple enough that there is an easy solution for. Your proposal is going to include explaining the need for fixing the problem and a realistic solution to the problem. So read the assignment document again and see the sample that I put on there regarding pencil sharpeners at an elementary school. And then when you have come up with some ideas for your proposal, and this doesn't have to be set in stone, this doesn't have to be absolutely what you go with, but it will allow me to see what you're thinking about and comment on whether I think it's a good idea or not. So in order to post to the forum, the same as usual, you click add a discussion when you sign into the forum, and then you add your ideas, and make sure you put your name as the subject, so that your classmates can identify you, and so that I can readily identify you too. I can see who posts them anyway, but that's a good idea to do that. So that's one assignment for this week, and you will get a grade for posting in that forum. The other thing for this week is to is another short informal report, and this week it is the investigative report. We're still in chapter 10, and so you may want to go back and read the chapter 10 summary, but specifically investigative reports are covered on page 345. Of course, anything that you want to know about the proposals are covered in chapter 13. But this week, the written assignment, besides the forum posting, is going to be your investigative report. Okay, so in an investigative report, you are investigating. Again, back to our title of our course, Professional Research and Report Writing. And so I have given you an assignment to do. This is to create another memo. Remember your 4-heading memo, according to the instructions in exercise 2 in chapter 10 on page 356. That's where the problem is. Okay, and so if you want to see an example of an investigative report, figure 10.4 on 346 to 347 shows you such a sample of an investigative report, and you want to use the appropriate headings for the assignment. Now, some of you are forgetting to put your introductory summary heading when you start giving your purpose statement and everything. So please be sure to do that. Be sure that you don't just start right in with your memo, but start with the heading introductory summary. And then you want to state what your purpose is for the report, and what the problem is about once you read it in the book is to investigate some injuries on the job, particularly back injuries. So read the problem in the book so you'll know exactly what you're supposed to do, and then investigate it and write the report up. Okay, so introductory summary is the first thing. The second heading you'll use is extent of research. And the extent of the research is how you went about gathering the data for your report. Use your critical thinking skills to invent this information, since you really haven't done the research. The problem in the book gives you information to use in the report, but so you didn't have to really investigate it, but make up how you went about doing that. Did you consult company records? Did you do a survey of employees? How did you do your research? The third heading would be your findings. And as I said, the problem in the book on page 356 gives you your findings. And so you can add other details to that. And I would like for you to also create a pie chart that approximates the percentage of back injuries and other types of injuries. So people get hurt in a warehouse situation with back injuries most frequently, but there are other kinds of injuries that they might have. I have made a suggestion for you in the assignment document. There is a live link to that says common warehouse injuries, and you can go there and notice when you go there that the back injuries fall under overexertion injuries. So you'll find information there. You can invent the data for the other injuries, or if you really want to see what they actually are, you can go to the to that website and actually investigate and see what they are. You don't have to. You can make it up if you want to, but you still have to create the pie chart. So I have included on your assignment also a sample pie chart that doesn't have the injuries in the warehouse, but it does have illnesses in the workplace. And I actually did investigate this and find out this information. And so I have given you a sample so that you'll see how to put it into the report. You always introduce with text, and so you'll have, you see figure 1, a graph, like a pie chart, is a figure. Anything that's in columns and rows is a table. Anything that's not in columns and rows is a figure. So lots of things fall under figures, and so does a pie chart. So you'll label it figure 1, and you'll give it a title. I gave mine the title of Workplace Illnesses, and figures are labeled underneath. Tables are labeled at the top, but figures are labeled underneath. So you'll introduce it with text, as I did in the sample that I gave you in the document. See figure 1 below for a view of workplace illnesses. And then I have my pie chart there with the percentages of workplace injuries and a key that explains what each section stands for. And then underneath I have labeled it figure 1 workplace injuries. And then as always, and then you'll have recommendations is your next heading. So after findings and your pie chart, then you'll have your recommendations. And you can make some valid suggestions to prevent back injuries. I gave you another live link to a website, Preventing Lower Back Injuries in the Workplace. And it has some very good suggestions, so you can get your suggestions from there. Again, if you're really good and know a lot about back injuries and you're really good at inventing things, you can make up some ways to prevent lower back injuries in the workplace. But that's your task under recommendations to suggest some improvements that can be made to prevent all these back injuries from happening. And then you'll have your last heading is your conclusion, and in that it can be very short, it can be very simple, it can be as simple as offering to pursue some of the recommendations that you've made if you're asked to, or if you have any further questions about this, you can contact me. It doesn't have to be long to sum it up. And as always, to get the best grade that you can for this, of course, you want it to be complete. You want it to have all the headings, all the information under the headings, and you want it to have that pie chart in there, introduced properly with text, labeled properly underneath with a number and a title, and then you, of course, you want to have your proper memo format with your 4 headings at the top, to, from, subject, and date. You can use your own name in the from, but you can invent a name for the to, and the subject, of course, should be back injuries in the warehouse, and the current date. You want to have all of that included. You want to make sure that your organization is helpful to the reader. Keep in mind, make the headings distinct. You can make them in bold or whatever. Also, it's helpful to leave a line of white space between a heading and the text. And if you should get in your report down to the bottom of a page and you have a heading, but your text doesn't start until the next page, maybe you're heading to where the text is, because it's odd to see a heading with no text under it. So just make sure your heading goes with your text. Make sure you have no grammatical errors and no mechanical or typographical errors. In other words, proofread it and make sure that you've covered all your bases and it's your best business professional effort. So this week, 2 assignments, ideas posted in the forum, and your investigative report on those back injuries that happen in the warehouse. So if you have any questions, as always, contact me. Let me know. Nobody's coming to my Wednesday morning virtual office hour, but again, I realize that might not be convenient for you, but if there's ever another time that you'd like to meet with me face-to-face in that Google Hangout and have a chance to ask me questions and let me respond directly to you, or if you want to call me or you want to email me, it's absolutely fine to do that. I hope this week things are better for you than they were last week. I know a lot of people are suffering after Hurricane Matthew, and I appreciate that, and I realize that we needed to extend some deadlines because there have been a lot of people that have suffered electrical outages, internet disruption, and some things worse, far worse than that, loss of everything. I've had students come to me and say they just lost everything. And so it's still we're still recovering, we're still trying to find our footing after Hurricane Matthew, and I will work with you in any way that I can. And it's not something special that I'm doing for you, even though I would anyway. But it's something that all instructors at Nash are trying to do for their students, because we do want you to be successful and we do want to help you in any way possible. So contact me. Let me know what you need. Let me know if you have questions. Let me know if you're overwhelmed or whatever the problem may be, and I will be glad to help you. So I will see you next week.